because Caitlin Clark's white, that's why little girls have gravitated towards her. I am floored, by the way.
Did you see Monica McNutt's recent remarks on Caitlin Clark's accomplishment on ESPN? She forced defenseless children into a completely nonsensical race narrative. Additionally, you won't believe how fast this backfired. We are going to demonstrate the precise moment to you. McNutt attempted to argue that Clark's appeal is based on race, utterly disregarding the reality that audiences from all walks of life are lining up to watch her perform. Stay tuned as we dissect how this absurd interpretation breaks down when you consider the real data.
Once again, we got somebody involved with ESPN saying one of the most ridiculous things we've ever heard in our lives, and that is bringing racial bias into supporting Caitlin Clark, particularly when it comes to little girls.
Did you see the precise moment Monica McNutt went too far, shocking basketball fans everywhere? It wasn't a casual remark or remark. She purposefully used children as the focal point of her contentious racial debate against Caitlin Clark. The criticism was swift and intense due to something that McNutt did that was really harmful. She implied that racial bigotry was the main reason why young females were endorsing Clark.
I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her. Little girls with their parents and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well,
The fact that McNutt used defenseless youngsters as proof for her racial theory is what makes this situation so vile. She was effectively accusing young girls of racial bigotry for supporting a player they look up to, rather than merely making remarks about Clark's popularity. Consider that for a moment. Rather of recognizing that children merely like watching amazing basketball performances, McNutt decided to instill racism into their reasoning. How fair is it to young fans who merely wish to watch the game?
I would say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games, but I think Caitlin represented. And again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not.
For the WNBA, the timing couldn't have been worse. The league was seeing a huge increase in popularity and viewership at the time, but McNutt's polarizing remarks threatened to ruin all of that goodwill. Her race-based narrative caused needless animosity at what should have been a time of unity and advancement for women's basketball, instead of commemorating this historic period.
We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons, and sometimes they may not be based in all.
The way that McDonald's statements flatly defied the facts in arenas across the nation is especially noteworthy. McNutt's account differs greatly from the reality of WNBA game attendance. Fans from a wide range of backgrounds have been swarming places to see Clark perform, demonstrating that her appeal cuts across racial lines. The video proof renders McNutt's race-based claim wholly unrelated to the actual events taking place in the world.
Yeah, it's a new low, even for people involved with ESPN accusing little girls of racial bias, but Monica McNutt is one of those WNBA media members that walks around, I don't care what she says, she's got real venom and animosity towards Caitlin Clark.
Instead of presenting her viewpoint as her own, McNutt did so as though it were an undeniable fact. She gave viewers little opportunity to draw their own conclusions about why fans would be drawn to one of the most captivating players in the game by claiming that Clark's appeal was solely influenced by race. This strategy insulted the fans' intelligence in addition to offending them.
Being called out for it, she had said some ridiculous things during an interview, and people just can't believe this, frankly. But it's where we're at. ESPN, I guess, I don't know what they would do if they couldn't race bait at this point.
Social media went viral as soon as McNutt spoke those things. She was downplaying Clark's athletic achievements by implying that her success was somehow related to her race rather than her exceptional skills on the court, according to critics from a variety of media sites and platforms. The critique brought to light a larger topic regarding how race is discussed in sports and whether or not these discussions benefit the participating athletes.
None of that is why there's a bunch of little kids. If you, like, the people you have a problem with, Caitlin Clark is not, like, she's literally, they hate her too. They hate her too. You just want to say Caitlin's only popular because she's white, and that's fine. That is fine. Go out and say it. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Go out and try to make that argument.
Nobody was posing the most crucial query on social media while critics were busy criticizing McNutt. Why didn't previous white WNBA players produce the same effect if Clark's popularity is truly based on race? This is where McNutt's entire case collapses in a spectacular way.
Because the war CC's popularity is discussed, you would think that Sabrina Ionescu and Kelsey Plum are apparently black basketball players. This person said you think she's the first white woman in the WNBA.
Consider it. Throughout its history, the WNBA has had many successful white players. Lobo, Rebecca Diana Terrace, and Sue Bird are not just names. They are game legends who dominated for many years. These women have enormous fan following, gold medals from the Olympics, and championship rings. The historical data utterly contradicts everything McNutt is attempting to convince us of. So why weren't white fans packing arenas decades ago if their sole interest was in seeing white players?
A lot of little girls from Dallas now that got brought into the game recently because of the boom, because of it's now trendy. The WNBA is now trendy, so there's a lot of parents bringing their kids. A lot of parents that got into the WNBA through Caitlin Clark might live in these other cities, bringing their young daughters to games in other cities. And you're seeing how many young girls are fans of Enrique, how many young girls are fans of Angel, how many young girls are fans of Sabrina, of Asia from Vegas. Like, it's a really good thing.
Even more telling is the fact that long before she ever set foot on a WNBA court, Clark was smashing attendance records at the University of Iowa. Her collegiate games regularly attracted sizable crowds of people who had never seen women's basketball before. Should we assume that Clark's race is the reason these new fans discovered women's basketball so quickly, or was it her incredible scoring record and thrilling style of play that drew them in?
The WNBA is coming off its most successful campaign in the league's 28 season history, setting highs in viewership, attendance, and merchandise sales. Undoubtedly, Fever guard Caitlin Clark was the primary reason for the spurt in popularity.
McNutt wants us to disregard the numerous basketball-related reasons why fans watch Clark. The three-pointers in the logo, the nuke disregards the performances that break records and thinks it's solely a race issue. In addition to being incorrect, it is an insult to basketball fans worldwide who, regardless of a player's appearance, can recognize excellence when they see it.
This whole thing really did kickstart from Caitlin Clark, and that's fine. But it's an objective good thing. It's fine that she has the most fans. It's fine that she has the most fans, because everyone has more fans.
Examine the facts. Compared to typical WNBA games, Clark's games feature more thrilling offensive plays, three-pointers, and highlight reel moments. That is why people pay attention. Before choosing which games to watch, they are not looking at the racial mix of the teams. Instead, they are searching for entertainment and outstanding basketball skills, which Clark delivers.
And that's the case in every single sport. That is the reason why they're hometown heroes. They're a reason why people, like a lot of people, like the story of Caitlin Clark going to her local school and making them basically, turning them into one of the best schools in the country. That's a legitimate story, which there's no problem. But to add the asterisk of, well, it's not Caitlin's fault that this happened, means that you actually have a problem with that, which means you have a problem with those group of people.
Remember how Steph Curry transformed the NBA with his long-range shooting? Clark's extraordinary basketball skills are radically changing what we believed was possible in women's basketball. He is doing the same thing for the women's game, extending the court and creating spacing that creates a completely different viewing experience. This basketball revolution is exactly what McNutt's narrative about race fails to mention.
Are you not embarrassed? Like, this is like in 2015 when Steph Curry took over. It's the style of play. We've seen it before in the men's side. It is when somebody has a style of play that people really want to tune into, really want to watch, and makes people excited to tune in, they will watch.
We are talking about 30 to 35 feet from the basket as Clark pulls up from the logo, and she is doing more than just scoring points. She is actually altering the geometry of women's basketball defense. Defenders must now watch over parts of the court that they were previously unconcerned about. This drastically changes spacing and offensive tactics, making the game more dynamic and appealing to fans. It's like witnessing basketball change in front of your eyes.
You want to know how many little white kids looked up to Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan? You got to be shitting me right now. It's got nothing to do with anything.
Clark's influence goes well beyond his shooting range. Most players wouldn't even try threading passes through defensive coverages, but Clark's exceptional court vision enables her to do so. These full-court assists and no-look dimes provide the kind of viral moments that go viral on social media in a matter of minutes, attracting fans who might not otherwise watch women's basketball. You don't consider her race until a highlight video of Clark attempting an unbelievable pass between 3 defenders appears in your stream. Do you think I should watch more of that?
If it was anybody of any kind of color and they carried themselves in a way on and off the court the way Caitlin Clark does, and I'm sorry, but she's better than all the players that we're bringing up here. And that's the big thing. She's better than those players.
When Clark is playing for the Fever, the spectator experience is radically different from what WNBA fans are used to. The score increases, the pace quickens, and there is a far greater chance of an incredible play. Younger fans who grew up watching the NBA's three-point revolution may find this approach especially intriguing. They are watching because Clark provides the fast-paced, high-scoring action they are craving, not because they identify with any particular race.
That's what we got to get past, is the Sabrina Ionescu's and all that. No. They did not resonate the way that Caitlin Clark has. All right? And look, they carry themselves fine off the court, but I'm saying Caitlin Clark's the total package all the way around.
Fascinatingly, fans wanted to follow Clark's story while she pursued her professional career because of her collegiate accomplishments. Her runs at Iowa Set Records created a foundation of interest that went beyond the usual audience for women's basketball. Supporters took an interest in her path rather than her race. They developed strong emotional bonds with her as she broke score records and went on to dominate tournaments, which continued when she joined the professional ranks.
Now, the question would be, are parents of other races allowing their kids to become Caitlin Clark fans, or are the old WNBA fandom steering their kids away from that? Maybe that's a question we should ask.
The true story is revealed by the spike in Fever Games viewership over prior seasons. Basketball innovation, not race, is the focus. When you watch Clark play, demographics are not on your mind. You're seeing someone redefine the boundaries of what's feasible on a basketball floor.
Watched a lot of those videos of those kids coming up after games and her signing autographs. There were a lot of little black girls amongst those kids. So I wonder if this is really as big an issue as Monica McNutt wants to make it out to be. I think what she's saying is ridiculous, and to tie it to little girls, I mean, we're hitting whole new levels of bottom feederness here.
After years of tremendous play, the WNBA is finally receiving the attention it deserves, but some commentators are choosing to focus on division rather than joy. It doesn't simply make for awkward TV moments when celebrities like McNutt bring up race in every Clark conversation. Regardless of who is playing, it actively threatens to split the diverse coalition of new fans who are learning about this league for the first time and become enamored with the sport.
That's equally as embarrassing. I'm sorry, it's equally as embarrassing. You have, again, essentially relegated Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark to the color of their skin. Are you not embarrassed? These are good basketball players, both good basketball players in their own right.
This is the terrible irony of the time we live in. The WNBA is going through its biggest expansion ever, with highlight videos circulating on social media and new ticket sales and products flying off the shelves. However, rather than capitalizing on this excitement, some commentators appear intent on dividing followers artificially who had never given race any thought until someone told them they should.
They also helped create and fuel a certain fan base out there that is very protective of what their league was, an activist basketball league before Caitlin Clark and regular sports fans got involved, exposing them.
It is visible to you in real time. When new fans log in to see fantastic basketball, they are immediately inundated with commentary indicating that they should choose a racial team. As if admiring Caitlin Clark's threes and her logo somehow precludes appreciating Angel Reese's mastery of the paintbrush. It's a phony decision that no one wants or requested.
They have now been exposed, and they're getting called out for it because this crap don't go on like this in any other sport. And people are fed up with it. They don't care. Hey, oh, you got to come in and respect blah, 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 blah. And regular sports fans are like, nah, not doing that. I don't have to come in and pay homage to anything.
The harm extends beyond merely unpleasant viewing experiences. All of the league's players are actively harmed by these race-focused storylines. Commentators who claim that Clark's fame must be a result of her race are also suggesting that Black athletes' amazing skills are insufficient to attract fans on their own. This is a ludicrous idea that denigrates both the players and basketball fans' brains.
They depicted her popularity as a negative, as a sign of great white hopeism or even racism. The response suggested that rather the league crumble than strive on the back of a straight white girl in Iowa. I've got no doubts about that.
Consider a 10-year-old girl who is watching her first WNBA game this season. She is unconcerned with these mature viewpoints. All she wants to watch are extraordinary sportsmen accomplishing amazing feats. However, rather than being accepted into a group that values achievement regardless of background, she is thrust into this fabricated dispute. How many prospective lifelong fans are we losing as a result of certain commentators' inability to see beyond skin color to the game of basketball?
If it was up to this league, you know what? They'd rather see it crash and burn and then bitch that nobody tuned in than allow it to grow on the back of Caitlin Clark and her fandom.
This is particularly annoying because it's all superfluous. Through a common admiration of athletic brilliance, the WNBA has the ideal chance to bring together supporters from all demographics, yet this togetherness doesn't lead to cliques or controversy. Because race baiting exists, certain media personalities find it impossible to ignore it, even when it puts the league they purport to represent in jeopardy.
Not embarrassed to be a basketball person to make that and to try to make that argument. Are you not embarrassed, Monica McNutt? And I mean that. Are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed that you've got the most exciting player in the league and you have relegated her to the color of her skin and where she's from?
Let's be honest. The numbers are honest. Fans go to arenas to see women's basketball, not because of some racial scorecard, but because of the crossovers, no-look passes, and those logo threes. What McNutt and others fail to see is that basketball brilliance is more important than anything else. When we promote athletic accomplishment and the thrill of the game rather than contentious identity politics, the sport flourishes.
But are you not embarrassed that the media, which are allowed to control the narrative, are continuing to feed into a narrative, which, by the way, by the day, this is like this. If we don't remember, post-Olympic break, the argument became solely just about basketball. When the WNBA season ended, it basically just became about basketball. That is all people talked about was the basketball. When Caitlin made the all WNBA first team, it became about the basketball.
The lovely truth. When children watch their first Fever game, they see heroes making impossible shots rather than black or white. All basketball fans may support women's basketball's future if it is unified by talent rather than separated by race.